Finally, now towards the end of our focus on different organs and their role in metabolism, let's talk about the kidneys. You know, kidneys are a major, the main organ as far as the excretion of different material from the body is concerned. They take the waste material out of the body, that's one thing. But also equally important is that it is because of the kidneys that the absorption very much, kidneys' role is in the absorption of the important nutrients, important electrolytes and important substances into the bloodstream, so that they are not lost along with the excretory material or excretory fluid. In doing so, they help in regulating the blood pressure. Of course, the blood pressure, you know, one of the factors in the blood pressure is that how much fluid is in your body, how much, for example, if blood fluid is in your body, and that fluid also very much depends upon the retention of water into the blood, and that in turn depends upon the electrolyte like sodium ions presence in your blood. So if there is more sodium ions, it will lead to retention of more water, which will eventually lead to the increase of the blood pressure. So in that way, maintaining a balance between the ions in your blood and the ions which will be and the water which will be excreted through the urine, this maintenance of the balance is very important, which is a role which is played by the kidneys. And then, of course, the electrolytes, I have already told you, they are very important components of which contributes towards the overall homeostasis of your body. And of course, pH also in turn very much depends upon what is the composition of the fluids in your body, and that can be disturbed if the kidneys are not being able to perform their function properly. Kidneys also are involved in signaling in one way or the other, because they produced many important hormones and enzymes, hormones like renin, erythropoietin. These are important in the different sort of functioning, which again keep it, they assure a balance between different components of the blood. I mean, the substances, the nutrients, the electrolytes, which will have to be kept into the blood, and the waste material which will be excreted out. So the balance is very important. That also is carried out by hormonal control through the kidneys. As far as the structure of the kidneys is concerned, they are composed of an outer cortex and inner medulla. Nephrons are the major structural and functional unit of the kidneys. They are responsible for the filtration process, and this is filtration process which is of highest importance when it comes to the absorption of important nutrients before the urine is excreted. They also these pyramid-like structures you can see in this kidney, they are the renal pyramids, and they also composed of hundreds of thousands of nephrons, which eventually help up in the collection of the urine. The blood supply, not only your kidneys are involved in the urine formation, but also keep in mind that there is a continuous blood supply to the kidneys, because along with this urine formation, the reabsorption or absorption of the nutrients in the blood is also of utmost importance, as already discussed. So that's why kidneys are supplied with blood supply, and this supply carries through renal arteries and veins, which ultimately contributes toward the filtration process of the kidneys. As far as metabolism is concerned, one of the most important metabolic role the kidneys play is that they very much are involved in the process of gluconeogenesis. Yes, you are right in thinking that gluconeogenesis is done by the liver, but keep in mind, liver, after the liver, the second most important organ which is responsible for this process, for carrying out this process, is the kidneys. Actually, especially when during the starvation process, when you are deprived of food for a longer period of time, it is not the liver, it is the kidneys which carry out the process of gluconeogenesis. And what is gluconeogenesis? I mean, it shouldn't be difficult for you not to answer. Of course, it's a process in which you get the glucose from non-carbohydrate moieties like amino acids, like lipids, etc. The proximal tubular cells of the kidneys play a very important role in this process of gluconeogenesis. Eventually, at the end of the day, it helps to maintain the level of glucose in your blood, in your body. And you are seeing it again and again. Why it's so important? Because it is the glucose that is the major metabolic molecule. I mean, you name it, whatever metabolic pathway you name, one way or the other, directly or indirectly, it has to depend upon the metabolism of glucose. And that's why we also should keep in mind that kidneys play a very important role in the maintaining a certain threshold level of the insulin in your blood also. Insulin is very important. I mean, you know it is how important it is. And we will see when we will be talking about the diabetes and the obesity, that how important it is to maintain a level of insulin. But excessive level of insulin is also harmful. It's so harmful that sometimes it can lead to death. So kidneys play a very important role in the clearance of the insulin. Important function of kidney is to get rid of the nitrogenous compounds from your body, specifically in the form of urea. We know the ammonia is highly toxic for your cells, for your body, and you get this ammonia from the degradation of nitrogenous compounds, specifically the amino acids. So the ammonia first have to be converted into urea, and the excretion of urea takes place through kidneys. So in that way, kidneys play, of course, because they are the main excretory organs, so you can think that what an important role they have in the urea cycle. Not only, as mentioned, not only the excretion, but also the absorption. I mean, you can think that during the process of urination, all the important components, all the important nutrients are also lost during this urination. For instance, what if your urine contains lots of amino acids, lots of proteins? That will be absolutely lethal for your body. And this is what kidneys do. They play a fundamental role in keeping your amino acids or other important components or other important nutrients into your bloodstream. They doesn't allow them to be excreted through the urine. So this is the essence of the filtration process in the kidneys. So that is why one of the major indication of kidney failure is that when you start seeing such important components like amino acids, like proteins in your urine, that show that your kidney is failing. And that is a very, very alerting sign, very dangerous sign for your life. Kidneys are also involved in the regulation of lipid metabolism. Of course, you know, cholesterol, for instance, cholesterol have to be maintained in a specific amount in your blood, but then excessive amount is also dangerous. So kidneys play an important role in the overall metabolism of the lipids also. They also secrete certain enzymes and hormones which affect one way or the other overall metabolism of the lipids. And also, you know that if in the starvation conditions, when your body is lacking glucose, what happens that it's producing more and more lipids, fatty acids. In that condition also, kidneys play important role in the maintaining the metabolism of the lipids. And that's why when the kidneys start failing, you will get more and more imbalance in the metabolism of lipids also. And that imbalance in the metabolism of lipids leads to the cardiovascular diseases. You know, cardiovascular diseases, one of the reasons of cardiovascular diseases is the accumulation of fatty material in your arteries. And that fatty material accumulation leads to the cardiovascular diseases. And that's why the people who have problems in their kidneys, who have kidney failure, they also have cardiovascular problems. Finally, the function for which kidneys are known, of course, the reabsorption of the nutrients is very important, but more importantly, the kidneys are known for the detoxification. You get rid of urea, you get rid of other harmful compounds through your urine, and that is the major function of kidneys.